First things first. My name is Jenna Wolf. His name is Chris Carter. He's in the Hall of Fame. That is Nick Wright. He will be in the Hall of Fame one day. We'll figure out why later.
Oh, I'm in the Hall. Maybe not the Pro Football Hall, but there's, yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
What? Breaking news.
You didn't know?
No, give us the hall. Give us the hall you're in.
WAER at Syracuse University.
Yeah.
Pending induction. I'm assuming I'm going to be first ballot once I'm eligible. That's what I'm assuming. This all got thrown off because Jenna didn't say Hall of Famer Chris Carter.
No, I said Chris Carter's in the Hall of Fame.
Who's in the Hall of Fame, and now we're here.
That's all right, well, you are in the Hall. We will be one day. I think
Jenna.
being with you.
Lena, what's happening?
We're all good?
Can we start over?
Welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That is the Hall of Fame of Chris Carter. That is Nick Wright. Oh, that is very sweet. Thank you for your little social studies love notes. You will never believe what Jared Goff had to say about Patrick Mahomes. The King returns to Cleveland, but we got to start this 3-hour show in Dallas, where the Cowboys are setting the table for a Thanksgiving feast. Their guests, Washington. All right, let's go over some of the things Dallas is thankful for this holiday season. Back-to-back road wins, Ezekiel Elliott, a pretty good defense, and a 5-5 record in a very shaky division. In fact, they can pull even with Washington for the NFC East lead with a win tomorrow. Here's Dak Prescott on the pivotal division matchup.
Our backs are against the wall, regardless. We're not worried about what we've done up to this point. It's about just moving forward, and I think that's allowed us to get on this 2-game winning streak and get the record back to 500 is because we know our backs are against the walls. Every game matters. Every game is a must-win. Nothing changes this week.
All right, CC, it's hard to believe we're saying this because we had this team all but dead a couple weeks ago, but are the Dallas Cowboys the team to beat in the NFC East?
Well, if you look at the circumstances that the Giants, Washington, world champion Philadelphia, if you look at every one of their individual situations, you've been like, I would much rather have Dallas. They're a lot healthier. How they match up with the other teams, they match up better. And typically you'd be like, you know something, I'm going to take the best quarterback. Now, Carson Wentz is the best quarterback. That wouldn't be a debate. That wouldn't be a long conversation. But the rest of the football team, you can see that Dallas, in their ability to be able to run the ball and dominate. And it's very important in November, how healthy are you? I mean, you can only play, you can say next guy up, but you know every time you go, the talent level, every time that next guy go up, the talent level goes down. And there's a reason why that player was not playing.
Sure.
And they have limitations, and typically they get exploited. And I just believe that Dallas and their front seven, that being offensively and defensively, based on Washington and what they faced in the last couple weeks as far as wholesale injuries across that offensive line, like, I believe that matchup is just in their quarterback. So I just don't believe they'll be able to overcome that. Dallas has the situation that I believe that as the season goes on, they are going to get better, and the other teams, definitely, we haven't seen that.
Right now, the team that's playing the second best football in the NFC East is the New York Giants. The Giants, they've won a couple games lately. They're coming off arguably the best game of the year. Like, Giants playing the second best football. Dallas is playing the best. For Washington, it's been an injury issue. We talked about how the injuries might have ruined them, and that was before they lost their starting quarterback to a traumatic lower leg injury. Now, I will warn the Cowboys of this. Once upon a time, 4 years ago on national television, Colt McCoy beat you. Colt McCoy beat you in a year that you were actually pretty good. And Colt McCoy, since that season, hasn't started a game in this league. That was in 2014. And so, like,
but you mentioned that because Colt McCoy will be starting for Washington in place of Alex Smith.
Thank you for the clarification. Absolutely. But this is all about the division. See, there are things the Cowboys do well, and we can emphasize those things. But what's also true is, in any other division in football, they would not be in the discussion for the best team. In any other division in the NFC, they would not be in the discussion for the second best team. Like, this is about who they have to go up against, who they have to catch, which is why the game this Thursday is so incredibly critical. You mentioned it. Yes, with a win, they're tied for first. With a loss, they're de facto 3 back with 5 to play. So with a win, they feel great. With a loss, they're 2 back in the loss column, and they will have been swept by Washington. So this is the biggest game of the year in the division, and Washington's got to deal with a backup quarterback.
But you got to look at this team and you say they struggled out of the gate. They struggled early on in the season. If there was any point in the season for them to be hitting their stride, it's right now, where Ezekiel Elliott is getting the touches you want him to get, where Dak Prescott has somehow found a way to make that offense work, where the defense is playing well, and now they just have to get Amari Cooper back into the fold. It seems like everything's clicking for this team.
All those things are accurate. At least they have an identity. We know now when they start, especially based on these last 2 road wins, which we have to say they are very impressive. They did all the things that in the previous road losses that they weren't doing. So now when they start the game, we know they have a sense of identity, what they're going to do, how they're going to get the ball to Zeke. The mystery to it is, and I'm going to say, I'm just going to temper my disappointment, how good is Amari Cooper going to be in the last 6 games? All right, we've given him a couple games. We haven't necessarily said anything. We know the transition is very, very tough. But when you trade for a veteran wide receiver and you trade a first-round pick, you are expecting him, after a month in your building, to have a serious impact. Now, what we've seen, and Nick and I watching a couple games together, we've seen they're getting better coverages. So which in turn, it has helped Dak manage the box. It has helped Zeke out as far as get him to that second level. But at some point, Amari Cooper has got to look like a guy who's made the Pro Bowl twice.
Right. You don't trade a first-round pick for a guy because he's going to shift coverage and make things easier for other guys. That's an added benefit to what you trade a first-round pick for, which is for a guy who can have 75-plus yards, a touchdown every other game or so, and be a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver.
But Nick, is that on Amari Cooper? Is that on Dak Prescott? Or is that on this offense trying to work him in?
Right now, I would say we have to put it on all parties, because we can't say, it's not as if Dak was playing great before Amari got there, and it's not as if Amari was playing great before he went over to Dallas. Both Amari had been struggling to have big games. Dak hadn't thrown for over 275 yards all season. So both parties are consistent on that. What has changed for Dallas since they added Amari Cooper is Zeke's gotten the ball more. Zeke's been more effective, and you have seen things open up for Allen Hurns, Cole Beasley, more so than they had early in the year. So it has been It has been a good pickup when you don't consider what they gave up. In order for it to be worth what they gave up, then you need to see what Chris is talking about. You need to see legitimate in-game impact from the play.
In a game like this, where you know you're going to have guys like Josh Norman, a lot of one-on-one battles, because you can believe that the tape that the Cowboys have sent out there, teams are going to start to realize we can't stop that running game with 7 people in the box. We have to go back to putting 8 people in the box. Amari Cooper, that's the time that he should show up. Thanksgiving, that's why you trade for a guy like that. One-on-one divisional matchups. So I'm looking forward to seeing, I'm expecting them to be able to grow his productivity coming down the stretch.
And one underrated thing about these 3 Thanksgiving games, the Cowboys obviously playing one of them, an underrated thing about Thursday games all year. Home field advantage in the NFL might not mean as much as it did in years past, but on Thursdays it does. Home teams on Thursdays this year are 9-2. The only home teams to lose are the Giants and the Cardinals, 2 of the worst teams in the league. So if you're a decent team, being at home on Thursday where you don't have to travel, where the other team really has like the day of recovery, 1 day to install a game plan, the next day they're traveling, that has been an enormous advantage for the home team. The Cowboys have that working in their favor this Thanksgiving, as they do every Thanksgiving.
All right, it'll be Washington in Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. Catch that on Fox. Much more in this game coming up. But on the other side, who is the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL? Jared Goff might have the answer. Next on First Things First.